You have chosen to provide, if you've chosen to do all these things, then that's your choice. Live with it. Don't make it everyone else's problem. You know what I mean? And his anger spread throughout the family to a point whereby at night, avoid him. Just do everyone a favor, because the simplest thing will bring out something for him to relieve himself of that burden of anger. My name is Aruho Manzi. I'm 30, made 30 in January 11th this year, and glad to be here. I had a happy childhood. It was, I loved swimming, and I was allowed to go swimming all the time. It was full of joy because my mom and her sister would have us go to our cousin's place, and we'd spend most of our times together. Like, that was our clique. We were 4 siblings, 2 boys, 2 girls, and it was fun. Yeah. No, my dad is of a different generation. He was the type to. I thought it was just him alone, but I found out it was many men of his generation. They would be there, but they were never around. They would have to be told to come for birthdays. They would have to be told to spend time with us. They would have to, they would not do it out of their willingness. I did primary school in Aga Khan until P4, and then I was moved to Green Hill Academy. I recently talked to my mom about it, and it had to deal with finances, and the time it was from Bugolovi to from Bugolovi to Makere, where Aga Khan is. It's not a plus traffic and all those things, so it amounted to, I had to move to Green Hill. At the time, I did not like it because I was excelling as a student at Aga Khan, and I was happy. I was in a community of an international based community, and there were not so many rules, and it was more, if you knew what you had to do, you did it. And then you moved to Green Hill. I used to cry every morning when my mom left, and I would wait to see the car leave, and then I would talk to my teacher. He would have to calm me down to get through the day. No, I was just brought from one position to another position with no regard for how I felt, or just do this, just move. Mom's solution was to always bring joy to every situation. So she would have the habit of bringing a snack and a book, which she would read on our way home. And she would pick me up each and every day, me and my sister, because we're in the same school. And it was something I didn't want to take away, because that was the joy that was there. Yeah. I did not outgrow it. I just learned how not to deal with it, and it kind of became a theme, because when you avoid to talk about something and you do it successfully with other things, it becomes something that you can do by default. So you just keep piling rubbish under the rug, basically, and you keep spreading it out, so you elevate the rug and you never see the rubbish. So I never dealt with it my whole primary. At some point I started seeing a psychiatrist, but I could never open up to him. I could never tell him what was really going on. I had to use metaphors, and I'm feeling like this, or it was never direct. I was never telling him I'm angry, or I was just saying I feel bad, and then I would reason it out why. I was really with one person who I'm still friends with, Mark Odongo. I know he called himself Mark Odong in high school, so in primary school, but his dad came and said it's Odongo. So I'm sorry, but you're a grown man now. So and I used to go to his place because I didn't have a PlayStation, and that was all the rage back in the day. And I would go to his place at 8 in the morning, greet his mom, greet his sisters that are awake, and when he's sleeping, enter his room, switch on the game, and play. And then when he'd wake up, we'd play together. He was the one person I could speak honestly about, not about the things that were hurting me, but just a place to speak honestly. I go to Budo. That's where I put Budo as my first choice because my grandfather had gone to Budo and my father had gone to Budo, and it was expected. Legacy. You go, King's College, eh? And I got a 6 in PLE, a 1-1 in science, and then 2-2 in English SST. But that was not enough to get an assured place. So my dad and my granddad had to talk to about probably legacy things, and then I got a place. And it was good, but it was traumatic because I was still wetting the bed. I was still ostracized for doing so. I was the most shy, most lack of muscle type of human being there was, and I had an affinity to hang out with the girls than with the guys, and talking about things was not something guys did. They played rugby. I tried once, almost broke my hand, and I quit. Soccer was not a big thing in Budo, it was rugby. And my cousins were in other dorms, and there was a distance between, because they knew the type of environment it was, and knowing that if I soften because of my cousin, I will go down with him. Basically, there was a healthy distance, and I accepted it. It was like an unspoken thing. So I couldn't even go to my actual relatives for comfort. But I still at this point in time knew how to bury the dust and keep a flat carpet. I was still able to go from the floor to the carpet. The dust hadn't raised to a point where I cannot, even how I'm speaking to you, it's in like metaphor. It had become part and parcel of how I dealt with things. To put it bluntly, I was not talking to anyone about anything, and I was going through every day to day to get through the day to day. No, me, my inner being, my inner nature had taken a back seat, and I didn't myself know who I was. So I was a cousin to a cousin. I was a friend to a friend. I was a student to a teacher. I was who other people wanted me to be, and I completely neglected to find out who I was really. So I was bullied because obviously you don't wet the bed in US1. You don't be the guy who tells the girls that, hey, the boys are planning these things. You don't. So I stole money and escaped, and escaped once. Then I came back and my mom visited me every week. Then I was the guy that the mom visited every week. So now people broke my cases, made it worse for me. And I escaped at the same time. And my parents now knew that that's not for me. So I went to Green Hill. I was a day schooler, and it was an environment where no one knew me, so I could reform my appearance to people, and everyone thought I was cool. In fact, one of my friends that I ended up staying at their place came, and the first instinct was for them to bully me. But for some reason, they ended up being my friend after the first conversation. He literally fessed up that I came to bully you that day we met, and because we talked, now I'm sleeping at his place. He's my best friend basically, and yeah. Then S3, I always knew Green Hill was a step to S3 where I wanted to go, Cambodia, because my sister was there. She got to go there immediately. She wanted to go there, she went there. So I was like, that's the place, because that's where even the original four, my sister, my two cousins, the son, right? 2 boys, 2 girls. The son was in Cambodia also. So I had my sister and my cousin brother. So going there, my first few weeks, I was bullied by the Cambridge students. I was invited to talk to them at night, and I was called into a room. I'm not going to mention names. I was called into a room, and they locked me in as I was talking to them, and then all of them just went to sleep. And I was like, hey, who is going to be here? Luckily, in Green Hill, I had started doing push-ups, so I was able to climb over the very high place to get out of the building and go to my dorm. And intuitively, I knew that these guys were not my friends. So immediately, I understood that I was there alone. And in fact, when I had a fight with a student in S3, almost at the end of it, they called me to the headmaster's room, because one of the prefects had told the headmaster that I was fighting. And then I explained myself. I was like, yes, I was fighting with this person. The headmaster had his own agenda, because he was waiting for this person to mess up once and chase him from the school. So now, by me confirming the truth, everyone thought it was because of me that the person got expelled. So in fact, I went, after the meeting that evening, I went to, and for the first time I talked to this guy, not to mention names, one of the guys in Cambridge, and he slapped me, quite literally. And because he did, I think it led people to believe that that's what they should do to a snitch. And one of my friends, I was told, one of the friends I had picked and used to stay in my room, I was told, literally went and pissed on my bed, like literally pissed on my bed before. By that time, the S4s had come, and luckily my cousin was there and moved me into his room. But they told me what had happened. So my blanket, but my mattress came. And that was my life from then on. I was now in the S4s. And because I was in the S4s, a sense of respect came to me, because the S4s were not any to deal with. These guys could row. The guys would go to the gym and lift all the weights kind of guys. Even the S6s were cautious to mess with the S4s. So that was where a sense of respect came. And the whole time I was never dealing with anything, but at least I was safe. So I hit the gym, and I knew these guys were going, so I needed to be able to be strong. So I would go to 2S4's rooms and do push-ups there. Then during the day, go to the gym when it was time, and that was my life throughout. Then S4 came, and we're now the S4s. That whole history had gone. These other Cambridge guys had left. Cambodia was going to be closed that year. So everyone was on their own things. And unfortunately, I had gathered momentum. I started feeling good about myself from the fact that I had to think about me. I started seeing where I was. And that ended because the school closed. Yeah, S4, I'm like, okay, I even I even, unfortunately, the wrong way about it. I go the wrong way about it. I'm cool enough now to be offered drugs. So they literally, that's why I smoked my first joint from 1.5 joints with with a guy I with yeah with one of my friends. By that time, the me is buried. I'm just realizing some particular things that I like, which is to not feel weak, to not feel disrespected, to take care of me, stop being what other people, because clearly everyone does not care. Vacation, since I've smoked weed, I hang out with a cousin of mine who does it all the regular, because these are guys who started earlier, and it becomes something. You wake up in the morning, smoke weed, lunch, afternoon, lunchtime, all those things. It's just part of life. Then going to Green Hill, because that's where we go for S5. It transitions into Green Hill. Green Hill, you smoke weed before class, break time, lunch time, evening. For some people, now it's smoke weed evening times and on weekends sometimes. But it had become that abrupt, and in fact, the intake in the school almost halved for the people who began second term or Form 5 were not the same people that had begun first term, because most of the people were chased. And in fact, I was chased because I was planning to smoke, so I put toothpaste in my mouth so that I could smoke fresh. I don't know, it would add mint to the weed. And I know, and uh, and I went to the bathroom with the guys who were supposed to smoke. Now those guys had the stuff, so they're supposed to do their bathroom business, and then we walk down together. The headmaster comes in, because previously, before we walked in, people had smoked, because it was bold now, in the bathroom where we were actually just doing bathroom things. Checked the other two, right, and found them with the stuff we were going to smoke. When I was talking to him, I was close to him, and he smelled toothpaste. So in his mind, it's like toothpaste is for people after they have smoked. They took us to jail. That was the first time I've been in a jail. And in the morning, my dad, for the first time, and I have to say this truthfully, for the first time, he had my back. He walked in and was up in arms. I was like, how do these people, you're 17, how do these people put you in a jail? You wait and we see. Oh, they're going to check your because it's a piss test. They're going to check you in for the drug, right? And I was like, yeah, you wait and see. And then they found it in my system. I was basking in the fact that the guy had my back for the first time. He literally was there and saying, I have your back, mister. And if I had told him the truth, I would have crushed the one moment I wanted it to play out. So I didn't tell him. And then he finds out, like the rest of us, that I'm expelled. And we stopped talking. I know the level of disappointment he had after, because he was never one to, the whole time I haven't mentioned my dad, because he don't talk to, if you want to talk to my dad, you tell him, can I talk to you? He tells you, meet me at my bar. You go, you order 2 beers. When you're there, then you talk. You know what I mean? Because I'm a kid. 2 beers, they knock you out. You come, you say the abrupt things, and you go. 5 minute chats. So there's no conversation. So that was the first time he talked when we were both sober, and he's proclaiming that this is my guy. Injustice has been done. I got you. And then he finds out after the things come that no, this is not your guy. This guy he has been messing up. Everything is true. It's a mess up. So all hope. Normally I was the guy who was just in my own world and understood, and he'll figure it out. Now I was the guy who is the drug guy, the liar, the guy who needs direction. Eh? I'm not going to give it, but I know you need direction. Everything that comes out of your mouth, I have to test. So between me and him alone, that was it. So I finished high school in Taiba because, I have to get a new school. And Taiba, I don't think I've ever told him this, but let me tell it to you. I used to steal, he used to keep savings of $1,000 in the suitcase that he used to keep in my room. And he used to come drunk and withdraw the money. So that for me justified the fact that, you know what, maybe you took $200 instead of $100 last night. So every time he came home drunk to withdraw money, I took. And it, with an addiction, after you get that feel of having money on you, when it goes, you're like, the only thing I have to do is get that thing from there. So then I started taking from time to time. And the last time I took, he came home and he took money, went. There were $300, so I took 100. Then he came home and checked again, and there were $200 left. And he came and he literally wanted to kill me. I went to my mom and I was like, no, that he's lying, mommy, you know the thing. And my mom was caught in between. My dad became angrier. He expressed his emotions with anger. And all he could say is, when I say jump, is how high, meaning you're already in the air and you're asking, how high, sir? How high should I jump? You know what I mean? So I was not going to the man to talk about, what am I to do? I'm a boy. I don't know how to do anything. Teach me. Nothing. Only anger. And it was always money issues. He told me this thing, I don't know if he remembers. He told me, we are a Volkswagen family living a Mercedes-Benz lifestyle. So it was always focused on money. It was, you couldn't, every morning you'd see him hungry. And it was always, I have to take care of this, I have to do this thing, I have to do all that stuff. And give the guy credit. The guy, not a month went by and I was just from school because of school fees. Not a day went by and I didn't have what to eat. And not like portion beans every day, like actual variety. You get? And my problem was, if you've chosen to provide, if you've chosen to do all these things, then that's your choice. Live with it. Don't make it everyone else's problem. You know what I mean? And his anger spread throughout the family to a point whereby at night, avoid him. Just do everyone a favor, because the simplest thing will bring out something for him to relieve himself of that burden of anger.